There's certain ways that you can lower your premium costs, and we'll give you some of them. Well, welcome to the Cornerstone Realtor Team podcast. This week is very important because we are breaking down homeowners insurance. With rising premiums in the Tri-Valley, I've heard a lot from homeowners. Everybody is going crazy saying, what is going on to my premium? We're going to talk about different gaps in insurance. Some people think they're protected, but you really have to review your policy every year and kind of look it over. Look at your coverage, what it's protecting, and what you have, because it's very important to have the right insurance and to know if, God forbid, anything happens, that you are covered. So today we're going to break it down. Jamil, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
People are just wondering why insurance is going so high in California.
Yeah.
And, we have personally seen that.
Yep.
My insurance has almost tripled since the last 3-4 years.
Right.
And it's just been a lot, right? People always ask, they're asking for an insurance broker. We have a great one, but let's go over why the insurance is going up. Number one, the wildfire risk is very high right now. In the last 4 or 5 years, we have seen many wildfires, and that is one of the reasons why. And then labor costs are higher, rebuilding costs are higher, and that's gonna increase the cost of premiums, because if your home, God forbid, burns down, it's gonna take a lot to rebuild it. And so that's another thing. The biggest thing, I think, is that people, the insurance carriers are leaving California because of the state's control over insurance. And so we're seeing that happen as well. And then, if you have an older home, there's a higher risk of having a fire because of wiring and different things in the home, stove, stuff like that. So if you have an older home and, you have a higher possibility of a fire risk.
That's right. Not only that, you have to understand your policy and what it covers. A lot of people think that the policy covers their value. It does not. What the policy covers is first of all, there's your dwelling coverage. It protects the rebuilding costs. So it's not the value of the house, it's what it costs to rebuild the house. How about personal property coverage? How about your furniture? How about your jewelry? How about anything that you have, arts, paintings? So you have to make sure that your coverage includes all of that. Liability protection, it matters more than you think. What if somebody trips in your property? If you have a pool, what if somebody drowns in your property? You have to make sure that you have all these coverages going on in your policy, and you're not picking the cheapest policy that doesn't cover all this stuff. Additional living expense coverage, temporary housing. What happens if your house burns down and you need a place to live? You gotta look at all of that. Your policy has to be inclusive and has to have good limits for all these things that I just mentioned.
And the other thing is common coverage gaps, right? Standard policies, they don't cover everything. So it's important to have your policy customized to what you need for you and your family. Like Rama said, if you have a pool, if you're in a flood zone, your standard policy does not cover a flood. Mm-hmm. It does cover if your house gets flooded within itself, if you have a leaky toilet, stuff like that, that's usually covered. But your home is not covered in case of an earthquake. So that's an additional coverage. If your sewer backs up, that might not be covered. It's not in the standard. You need to add what they call an endorsement on your policy for your insurance. So it's important to go over all these coverages with your insurance agent, and that's why it's important to have an agent to talk to that have experience, that can guide you through what's good to add and what's not good to add. For example, jewelry. If you have high cost jewelry, you might want to add an endorsement for that to cover. And then A lot of times people don't take video or have proof that they have the jewelry in the house. You could take a video of your home and all the contents and store it somewhere safe. Store that video in case something happens. You've got proof that you owned it. Receipts and video are unmatched proof. So things to talk to your agent about.
Right. Also, you can talk to your agent about there's certain ways that you can lower your premium costs, and we'll give you some of them. One of them is bundling your home and auto together. There's a lot of insurance companies that reward you for putting all of these together. They give you a discount, and it could be substantial. Another thing is you have to make sure that your home is upgraded, that your roof is in good shape, and the major systems in your home. One of the things that we have been seeing is a lot of older homes have outdated electrical systems. They want you to update the panel. If your panel is outdated, there's more risk of a fire happening. Install safety devices and leak detectors, water leak detectors. If the water starts running, you're on vacation, and the detection sees that the water keeps running, it will automatically shut off your water for you. So these things really matter when you are searching to get a lower cost premium. Doing these things really matter. Another thing is use fire resistant landscaping. A lot of us like those wood chips around the house and the mulch. Some of these things can really catch on fire very fast. So there's ways that you can use fire resistant landscaping. And raise your deductibles. One of the things I've done is I've raised my deductible. Why do I need $1,000 deductible? I put a $10,000 deductible, which brought my premiums down, because in a major catastrophe, that works $10,000. But for the little things, it does not work. So these things, you can tweak your policy to make it more affordable.
And I want to add something to what you said, Raymond. So we had a client that he bought a property, and they made him either he can get a cheaper policy, or he would have to upgrade the electrical panel and the wiring. So there are certain panels that have become failed, and they've been called out. And so the insurance company asked him, if you replace it, we'll insure you and give you a better price, because the panel that's in your property has failed. And so it's important to get your insurance up front. That kind of leads us into this. What buyers and sellers should know about insurance before listing their property, because insurance is becoming a big factor in buyers making a decision. It affects affordability with higher premium. Some homes can't get insurance. I have a cousin in Riverside that couldn't get insurance, and he called and said, "Hey, I need someone." And many carriers didn't want to because of the fire danger there. We found him a good carrier through my broker, and we're able to get him insured. So it's good to know people, right? But buyers should shop their insurance early on. Find out what is insurance going to cost. And sellers should get a quote. We typically get a quote for our sellers and have it ready to go, so that the buyer knows kind of what to expect. And so the insurance quotes are becoming a part of a buyer's strategy and understanding what it's going to cost.
Yeah, true. Also, it's one of the contingencies now in our purchase contracts that the buyer requests time to look for insurance, and it could be a point of backing out if they cannot get insurance, or it's too high. It could push up their affordability really to numbers that they don't want. So I know insurance is not an exciting subject, but it's something that you have to look at. God forbid something happens to your home, you have to be ready. So it's not exciting, but you need to visit the insurance broker or person that you have and talk about it. Look at your premiums, see where you can save and where you can adjust. So thank you for watching the podcast. We'd love to break down many different subjects. If you have a request, please send it in. Any questions, send us. And don't forget to like us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. What else? YouTube.
One last thing, you should be reviewing your insurance, all your insurance, at least once a year.
Yeah.
Going over your policies to see where you could save. So
thank you.
Thanks for watching.